everyone! Well, that another day in artistic rhythmic gymnastics has come to an end. This is the penultimate date when athletes are playing for medals. Someone is running out of strength, someone is already tired both physically and mentally, and someone else is just getting ready to fight for first medals. In general, in terms of the schedule, artistic gymnastics is very interesting and very long. I think you and I would be very happy if the rhythmic gymnastics performed so much. But since rhythmic gymnastics is not enough, it is a good reason for us to follow sports and meet the stars there. On August 2nd in Tokyo, the finals of individual types were held for men in the vault and on the rings, and for girls in floor exercises. And of course, again, there were some interesting moments, as I said in the last video. The Olympics is very similar to a talk show, where something happens every day. I'm even interested in what they will invent in rhythmic gymnastics. Although on the other hand, all this draws attention to sports. Any news feed is good or bad, and the sport is mentioned more discussed, and therefore more watched. And by tradition, let's start with men. In the final on the rings, it was the final that was the first from Russian to perform, with Denis Ablyazin. Here he took only 6th place, and here again the fans discussed the assessment and the judge. Although in this discipline it was still not so scary, but from the opinions of the public there are such thoughts. The first is, of course, that Denis was huge. The second opinion is that he just has a weak base and did not have enough points before medals. And the third opinion is that he himself just performed dirty. But whatever is true, in any case, for artistic gymnastics, it's already an achievement that he is in the final of the Olympics, knowing what a huge competition there is with other countries. And visually, with my unprofessional look, the Chinese were really excellent in the rings. So the gold was won by the Chinese athlete Liu Yang, silver by another Chinese athlete Yao Hao, and the bronze medal was won by the Greek athlete Eleftheronis Petroniaos. I'm not sure that his name is read that way, but I'm sure those who know, they will correct me. Well, the second projectile in the men's wall turned out to be even more exciting and scandalous. Namely the fact that in fact two athletes who took first and second places scored the same points and the gold was won by a non-Russian athlete. That of course immediately raised conversation about the fact that ours were deprived of the gold medal. Not having received the team gold, you cannot give more gold. But in general, there was quite a lot of discussion on this point after the competition. To begin with, an explanation of the fact why Denis Ablyazin nevertheless became the second, the Korean athlete Jiwan Shin became the winner of the Olympic Games. In artistic gymnastics, in accordance with the current rules, if the average mark for two jumps on the vault is equal, first of all the marks for the best jump are compared, and only then for the execution. It is for this reason that Denis became the second. Here you can also protest against your own assessment, and only for the difficulty. You can't protest against someone else. This is in principle the same as in rhythmic gymnastics. In an interview after the final, Denis Ablyazin said that he thinks that he cannot blame the judges for something. Since they gave such an assessment, it means that it's so correct and he has no complaints. Although the broadcast showed his indication why this happened. Well, and interesting the phrase he said that he would not say what he thought about this. Apparently on purpose, so that the conflict would not be inflated from this. Apparently he was still unhappy with this, but cleverly presented everything as if everything was fine. His teammate Nikita Nagorny said that he was so upset for Denis, and Denis himself did not understand at first what happened and why he was put in second place. Nikita even said in an interview that they are usually judged by the purity of performances, but this is in principle a normal practice when athletes are not truly guided by the rules and changes. At least I really liked what their head coach said in relation to these assessments. It is very wise for me and for an adult. So he said that there is no condemnation in the distribution of assessments. Everything is happening as it should be. And since Denis became the second, it means he took the silver medal. They trust the judges, and everyone who judges the Olympic Games follows the rules and clearly cannot condemn. I really like this approach, when both coaches and athletes do not blame the judges, but regard this as a reason to work further and perform so as to win without a doubt. I really like this moment. The only caveat that probably raised up was that in the floor exercises, the girls with the same ratings, it turned out the girls shared the medals, but the men had such a problem. Well, about girls later, a little more about men. Nikita Nagorny, by the way, also performed in vault, but he became only 5th. According to the interviews after the speech, I drew attention to how much Nikita is self-critical of himself. I cannot judge how normal it is in artistic gymnastics, although our athletes are always blaming themselves for artistic performances. And here Nikita reminds me of the Russian school, so he says to himself that despite the team gold, he still had to continue to perform with dignity. And today he did not go to the maximum. He gets upset that he can't show his best. And about his self-criticism, he also says very correct things in my opinion, that these are the Olympic Games. The whole country is looking at the guys, and no matter what state you're in, how you feel, and how ready you are, you should go out and show your maximum. During these few days, I definitely became a fan of Nikita Nagorny, and at least the words that he speaks publicly. For an athlete of this level, it seems to me otherwise and cannot be. So despite the fact that Nikita is self-critical of himself, he is in any case already our Olympic champion and our hero. Well, the closer the end of artistic gymnastics, the more questions for the guys about the continuation of their careers. Someone still answers vaguely, and someone specifically says that they will try to get to the Olympics in 2.5 years in Paris in 2024. So we already know that David Bilavsky plans to stay in sports, and Denis Ablyazin also said that he would try if he was healthy. Probably for athletes of this level, this is the most important criterion. Well, it's time for Denis to jump the pivot to the gold medal, considering what injuries he went through and what he went through. Well, for the girls on August 2nd, they competed for a medal in wave exercises, the most feminine discipline in artistic gymnastics. And here is just a story with a double medal. I honestly don't remember that the two athletes climbed to the podium, at least in rhythmic gymnastics that has recently been prohibited in major tournaments. The rules were built so that in any games it is determined who has which place, but in sports apparently this moment remained open, and in principle for our Russian athlete Angelina Melnikova this is good. So Angelina and Japanese gymnast Maya Murakami shared the bronze medal of the Olympic Games. By the way, Maya Murakami said in an interview after the final that she wanted to give Angelina her flowers, remembering her tears after the world champion in 2019. When Maya snatched the bronze from Angelina, but in the end, today they exchanged bouquets as a sign of respect for each other. And 3 years later, they're on the same stage of the Olympic podium. As for me, this is a very cool moment and shows that the gymnasts are still friends and support each other, no matter who takes what place. And yet without departing far from friendship. Angelina said that she left the support of Simone Biles at these games, was rooting for her and worried, and at such moments I'm especially pleased. The truth is not pleasant that a huge number of Russian fans do not like Simona because of the history of doping, and all the athletes are in fact friends with each other and support each other without any malice. After all, if you sort it out by and large, everyone will get what they are doing and what they have earned. Fate is fair to everyone, especially in sports, and it sees who did not work where and who earned what where. At least I have this opinion in all the conflicts. American gymnast Jade Carey won the gold medal in freestyle, while Italian gymnast Vanessa Ferrari became the second. Another Russian gymnast, Vittoria Listunova, unfortunately today became 8th. Not everything worked out, but she is just starting her journey, and I think she will scold herself and take into account all the mistakes. Well, now I have an interview after the performances. Here I was of course a little guessing and confused, like one sport and the coaches are almost the same and how different opinions are. So the senior coach of the girls remained dissatisfied with their refereeing and naturally expressed this moment. Whether this is due to the fact that she is a woman or just such a person, it is again difficult for me to say, but we have just seen how the coach of the guys treats the judges and how the coach of women speaks. Although perhaps she simply supported her athlete. Saying that Angelina performed very well and the coach also gave an injection towards the judges, that if the athletes are on equal footing, then the Russians will never be given, and according to her, the judges simply did not want to give us more medals, because so the Russian national team won medals in the team for men and women. And now an interesting social poll: on whose side are you on? On the side of the men's trainers and think that the judges are fair and everything is okay, you just need to play better, or on the side of the women's coaches, that everyone has been sued and Russia is pinned down on the marks. Well, Angelina Melnikova also answered the question about continuing her career. After Tokyo, at the moment she has not decided, but it's important for her to perform in pleasure, and while it is, she will be engaged. So let's hope that Angelina will have enough pleasure and desire for the Olympic season and we'll see her in Paris. Well, for today all this remains with us, the last day of artistic gymnastics. You can already prepare your final speeches with your favorites and favorites from the Olympics in the responsible gymnasts. But remember, that's it for today. I love you all and I'll see you very soon. The video was translated and dubbed by Sasha Sinica.